You're watching Scorching and Swearing with your host, Brandon Swear.
Hello, and welcome Swear Nation to another amazing episode of Scorching and Swearing. Man, got two more pods today from Jacob Deathridge. These are the Deathridge Chocolate. Now, you've already seen me do the Deathridge Red variant. This is the chocolate variant. So, here's a close-up for those. Beautiful looking pods. It almost has a red undertone to it. Looking forward to these. The Deathridge Red is phenomenal pepper. These are both grown by and crosses done by Jacob Deathridge of Deathridge Peppers. If you don't know him, you should by now, if you've been catching some of the other videos, but he is a phenomenal grower, also a grower on the Primos Wrecking Crew. So, you know, pods that roll out to these competitions, you know, Jacob is oftentimes in there contributing pods to that. So, man, excited to jump into this, but let's go ahead and get on in. So, another late night. It is 11:22 as I'm filming this. I will likely have this uploaded for the morning, but wanted to get this one in there and ready to go. Oh wow, let me cut up in this next one too, just to see if it is what it looks like on this other side. Very oily on the knife. I know I've tried to show this a few times. It doesn't ever translate well, so no need to kind of show that. But man, this thing is oily, and for a thin-walled pepper, this is pretty darn thick. Let's get this first one shown. It looks sinister, it looks hot, and it looks ready to go. Let's see if I can sprawl that out better. Man, just wicked looking inside. And here's the other one. Once again, not quite as good of a cut job on this one as the last, but man, that thing is wicked looking. But all right, so we're gonna go through here and chow down on both of these pods tonight and hope for the best. You know, I had a light dinner, basically a taco, and yeah, so we'll see how this goes, but nothing to it but to do it. I'm Brandon Swear, and this is Scorching and Swearing, the Deathridge Chocolate. Very nice wall, thick wall in the sense of like the overall mass that you're getting. Obviously a thin wall, but on the thicker side of the thin wall. Really good mass, really good flavor. Man, it's already starting to build, taking off. Let's get that all little bits out of my mouth. All right, let's talk about it. Right off the bat, juicy. It had a nice sweet pop that came in, a nice fruity undertone, but from that fruity undertone came a very subtle note of bitter. Now, the bitterness was actually not an overpowering, repulsive type of bitter. So like there's sometimes you'll bite into it and you're like, ooh, you know, just taken away by it. Definitely not the case here. It has that bitter note that almost kind of ties to a nutty, earthy, but man, phenomenal pepper. The sweetness to it right up front was completely shocking, considering it being a chocolate pod. Don't remember exactly what this cross was, but obviously it is Jacob's cross, so kudos there. Definitely love what you're doing with this one, but man, it's got some nice heat. So let's talk about where it's kind of where the first one's sitting at. So the initial, right off the bat, it starts to build and really get going in the mouth, right across the tongue, the front half of the tongue, a little bit on the back of the gums on both sides. Not really attacking the back of the throat too much. Am feeling it in the lower portion of the throat a little bit. A touch in the chest, but nothing in the gut yet. As I continue to talk, it's really gravitating out of the mouth, more towards the throat, and really just kind of sitting on the top of the chest just a bit. All in all, phenomenal pepper. Definitely a nice heat. All right, let's jump into the next one, and then we'll continue on. We'll see if if they are consistent in heat and flavor across the board. Obviously, this one's a bigger pod than the other. Slightly different shapes, so something that he might still be working on is trying to figure out between the two different shapes, if those are the two shapes that he's kind of looking between. But we'll find out more. But let's get into this one. I'm gonna go ahead and pop off the stem there. Well, all right. Not really opened up the sinuses yet. I can still feel, and you can probably hear it. I've been kind of nasally and congested most of the day, so hopefully this one gets us there. But all in all, the aroma on this thing, because I didn't talk about that in the first one. The aroma on this thing's phenomenal. It's not overbearingly chinense right off the bat. You are getting some nice earthy notes to it, but you're getting a nice sweet undertone. So kudos there, but let's try to jump on into this next one. Well, this one, right off the bat, extremely earthy, not as smoky as the first one, and the amount of bitterness is definitely higher in this one than the last one. Now, the amount of earthiness duration, far longer on this one than that first one. I think that also has to do with there really wasn't much sweet notes on this one. The sweet was very short-lived and at the very front, but that smoky, earthy tone, that thing just kind of took over on the second pod. Let me get the rest of this out, Phil. There we go. All right, but all in all, I would say just as hot as the first one. The heat on this one really, initially kicking up quick, kicking on into the back of the throat where the burn is sitting, lingering around the back portion of the mouth, right under the tongue, on the overall burn as this one's going. Really just building more towards the back of the throat with this pod than, say, the very first one. Trying to see, it's interesting. Now I'm feeling it now on the roof of my mouth as well. wondering if I had anything remnants just kind of sitting there, but doesn't appear so. All in all, phenomenal pepper. Just, you know, obviously the flavor between the two pods itself were still quite a bit different. That sweet note from the very first one, phenomenal. Definitely love that. The overall flavor profile of the second one, still not bad, but you lost the sweet notes on that one. It was just very short-lived, not quite as pronounced across the board, but trying to hopefully getting some of my sinuses going up. But man, so this one's really receding back towards the back of the throat quite a bit more than the very first pod. That lower portion of the throat right here, and then just sitting right there in about the mid throat. Chest is kind of not there on the second pod because that first one's already diminished. I'm not really feeling it in the chest anymore, and there's still nothing in the stomach, but overall feeling a nice little burn, if you will, going on right down the insides of my cheeks right here, to the back of the throat, to the upper part, and this lower part, mid-low. Man, phenomenal burn. I would definitely say the red, the Deathridge red, I think, from what I can recall, was actually quite a bit hotter than the Deathridge chocolates. The flavor on Deathridge red, I definitely liked a lot more. Kind of given the two, it was more similar to the very first pod I ate of the chocolates, but the second pod of the chocolates, while it had more of a back throat burn, it also kind of lost a little bit of that initial sweetness. Both phenomenal peppers. Definitely excited to see what you do with this, Jacob. If you're looking for pods, I'll have everything linked down below. How you can get a hold of Jacob Deathridge at Deathridge Peppers. Shipping out boxes all the time, so you can definitely get a hold of him, get yourself some fresh pods, and hey, it's still pod season, so definitely take advantage of that. Get your get your burn in, and if you're trying to build your tolerance, it's a great way to start, just by taking smaller amounts, slivers, working it into food, etc., until you start to really get accustomed to being able to eat these peppers. You'll also be able to, as your tolerance builds, taste more in these pods, taste it for longer, etc. Really start to enjoy and understand what's going on there. Doesn't mean you have to just jump in with the hottest thing that's out there. You can build up your tolerance at, even with the easy, simple stuff that you find at the grocery store. But as we all know, that's a short-lived process and does not yield for the long run as far as what you're wanting. At a certain point, you kind of cap out with what you can easily access at the stores, and that's where people like Jacob Deathridge over at Deathridge Peppers really come in to save the day, be able to provide you a wide selection of amazing peppers that you can get straight to your door. So, man, the burn is pretty much completely gone. Feeling it. The only remnants is down in the chest, just a little bit, but all in all, I think I got a little bit of my nose starting to clear up now as we're speaking, so definitely feeling good there. Jacob, killer pod. Love what you're doing with these Deathridge chocolates. Looking forward to seeing where they go from here, from everything from the world of hot. This has been Scorching and Swearing.
This has been Scorching and Swearing with your host, Brandon Swear.